Venerable Saranankaranayaka Mahathera, the Chief Judicial Priest in Malaysia, and other members of the Mahasangha, and dear friends in the Dhamma. And today I am glad to be here, particularly in this new hall. And this is the first time I am giving this talk in this new hall. Sentul Buddhist Vihara has been grown, and it's getting bigger, and this room is also bigger, and I'm glad to be here again. And today we are going to spend some time on talking about a very delightful subject, but at the same time a topic that we all need to inquire more, and that is happiness. Actually, this was not in the list of my suggested topics, and this was given to me by Brother Nelson. This is actually the theme of the retreat that I am planning to conduct over the weekends, and then he took this topic and asked me to talk on this. And of course, happiness is a pursuit that we all are going after. And when Buddha talked about all living beings, and he found out two universal characteristics of all living beings. One is all living beings want to avoid suffering, and all living beings want to enjoy happiness. And that is a universal fact. And so if you want to find a common ground for all living beings, and that is the common ground, no living being would say that I want to suffer all day. All living beings want to avoid suffering, and then everybody is seeking happiness. But the problem is that though we all seek happiness, we are doing it without really knowing what really true happiness is. The topic today is part 2, true happiness. So therefore, before we talk about the path, we need to clarify what is true happiness. Because whenever we hear the term happiness, usually we remember happy moments. When you hear the word happiness, you may remember the moments that maybe your good friends visited you, maybe your birthday celebrations, maybe the day that you got some good amount of money. So all the moments come to our mind, because we think that happiness is some kind of excitement or some kind of elation. And even the term happiness has this sense that it is something that is going to happen to us. So we wait for incidents, moments, and occasions that happiness will come to us. It's a very important realization that we need to develop based on the teachings of the Buddha, is that happiness is not something that will happen to us. The true happiness is something that we should cultivate. We should not wait something to happen in order to be happy. We shouldn't wait for other people to make us happy. So that kind of happiness is actually the moments of excitement and moments of elation, or even like moments of sensual pleasure or pleasurable sensations. So what has happened to us that we have confused the pleasurable sensations or excitements with happiness. When you come to the teachings of the Buddha, particularly in the Pali terms, it is quite clear the Pali term for happiness is sukha. Do you know the opposite of sukha? Yes, that one we know well, right? Yeah. So, do is a prefix, right? And then that is a combination of two words, prefix and the root of the word. So, kha means to endure, to be with. Do means difficult. So, any moment, any occasion, any incident, any occasion that is difficult to endure or difficult to be with can be called dukkha. And sukha, also the same root, but the prefix is different. Instead of du, we have su. That means easy. So easy to endure, easy to be with, and that is sukha. So that is more like not a momentary sensation. Sukha is not a momentary sensation, and it's not also not necessarily a pleasurable sensation. It is a state of the mind, easy to be with, a state of mind, or actually a state of being. So we should not look for excitements in order to be truly happy. Instead, we should look for more flourishing states of our mind, more stable states of our mind, and that is where we will find true happiness. And in the teachings of the Buddha, true happiness is not momentary, not some kind of an exciting, pleasurable sensation, but more of a peaceful state of the mind. So if we have that kind of deep understanding of happiness, then it is easy for us to understand what are the steps that we should take in order to achieve that kind of happiness. So it's more like a state of being, more like a peaceful state of the mind, and that is true happiness. So that kind of happiness is something that we should cultivate. We should develop within us. It's not something is going to be decided by the external conditions. And Buddha used very important term for that. And there are a number of classification, number of levels of happiness in the teachings of the Buddha. And the usual pleasurable sensations that we usually consider as happiness are called samisa sukha, or worldly sukha, or the happiness related to sensation, pleasurable sensation. Buddha did not deny that there is no happiness at all in our pleasurable sensations, but it's limited happiness. It's called niramisa sukha, the worldly happiness. Then he talks about other kind of happiness, which he called samisa sukha. Samisa sukha is the pleasurable, the worldly happiness. And the higher level of happiness, he called it niramisa sukha, the happiness which is not related to sensual pleasures, but more to different states of the mind, peaceful states of the mind. And actually then he also has a third category of happiness, which he called niramisa and niramisatara sukha, like it's still more refined state of happiness that we usually gain as a result of insightfulness, development of wisdom. So there are different grades of happiness, starting with more pleasurable, momentary kind of happy moments, which are not lasting long, and then moving beyond that pleasurable moments to more of enduring state of mind, more peaceful state of mind, which are more reliable and internally developed. And even Buddhists actually are pointing to a happiness which is related to wisdom, even going beyond niramisa sukha. So at least we can try to focus on a stable level of happiness, and it is something that we should develop within us. It is like shaping or training our mind to stay in balance in no matter what is happening around us. It's like taking charge of our own mind. Usually, our states of the mind are decided by other people, like other situations, and that is how normally we live our life, right? Somebody else can decide whether you are happy or unhappy, isn't it? And maybe the external situation can decide whether you are happy or unhappy. So our happiness and unhappiness is not really controlled by us. If somebody gave you a bad look, awkward look, or maybe somebody tell you a bad word, or maybe if you are struck with traffic, for example, and that can decide whether you are happy or unhappy. So in a way, actually, we have given privilege. We have sacrificed our own privilege to others to make us happy or unhappy. We are very generous in that sense, right? So we don't keep this privilege. We have given our privilege to everybody else. Please, you can decide whether I am happy or not happy. But the Buddha's advice is, keep the privilege within yourself. Do not renounce this privilege. Do not give this privilege to others. Keep that privilege to yourself. And then develop internal stability within us, that we can stay calm and quiet and peaceful no matter what is happening around us. It is not easy, but there's a clear path to develop such a state of mind. I remember a story about a woodcutter. You know, those days people used axe to cut wood. There was a woodcutter actually looking for a job. He didn't have a job for a while, and he was going to different employers and asking for a job. And one employer actually was kind and gave him a job to cut trees, which is not a good thing, by the way, but that is his profession, job. So he was so happy he got a job, and he wanted to do a very good job for his employer. So he went out, the employer assigned him a piece of a forest, and these are the trees that you should cut and help me to produce timber. He was very industrious, dedicated, and first day he cut as many trees as he can in order to serve his employer. And he was so happy, he cut 18 trees on the first day. And he decided, okay, next day I will work hard and cut more trees. The next day also he worked harder than the previous day. He cut and cut day and night, even didn't take much breaks. And at the end of the day he counted how many trees he cut. Can you imagine? First day he cut 18 trees. The other day he works harder, but at the end he found he has only cut 12 trees. And he was frustrated. He worked harder than yesterday. I think maybe tomorrow I will meet the target. I will cut more trees. So the next day he even did not took break at all. And he spent whole day cutting trees and trees. He wanted to really cut more trees for his employer. So after a long day, hard-working day, and he counted how many trees he cut. Only 8 trees. And this is really frustrating. The more he worked harder, the lesser the number of trees become. And this is not logical. He was so frustrated. And the last day he thought that, I am going to do my best. And he worked all day and cut. And that day even he could not cut even 5 trees. And he was out of his mind, and he was so upset, frustrated. He went to his employer. And he wanted to apologize. I really want to serve you. This is not, I was not lazy. I was working hard. And I'm very sorry, I could not cut as many trees as I cut on the first day. And then the employer asks, I understand, you work hard, I can understand. And he asks, then he asks, how did you work? He said, I even did not take break last 2 days, but I could not cut as many trees as I would wish to cut. And the employer asks, how many times you sharpen your axe? And then the woodcutter said that I didn't have any time to sharpen my axe. I've been cutting trees all the time. So I even did not take time to sharpen my axe. I was cutting trees all the time. And then the employer told me, that is the reason that you are cutting less trees. Because you did not take time to sharpen your axe. Therefore you cut less trees than previously. So no matter how hard he worked, he could not cut many trees because his axe was not sharpened. Even in our life, we try so hard to be successful, to be happy, to achieve our goals, and we are so busy that we don't have any time to sharpen our axe. What is that? To sharpen our mind, to take care of our mind. And we try to achieve so many things, just like that woodcutter. Are we successful? Not necessary. Because we think that it's wasting time to sit down and look at our mind. And we want to work even during that short period of time too. But it's not going to be effective, just like for that woodcutter. The wisdom that Buddha has given for us to achieve our happiness, to achieve true happiness, is something like that. And spending time in looking after our own mind and taking care of our own mind is the most important thing when it comes to happiness. Not so much of try to fix other situation and other people and external conditions. Of course, we can do those things to a certain level, but most importantly, it's more like taking care of our mind, just like sharpening the axe. And we need to sharpen this, we need to purify this, we need to shape this, and that's only we get skills and wisdom to deal with other conditions, other situations. Otherwise we will simply go and the more we cut, the more we become, the dumb, the more less sharpened. So that is the wisdom we need to have for true happiness. And then when we understand that there's an internal work to be done in order to be truly happy, so we need to understand two important things. One is happiness is not necessarily an excitement. We should first get rid of that delusion. It's not an excitement, it's not simply a momentary elation. It's more like a state of being. It may be not like, uplifting. It's more like an enduring state of peace. That is true happiness. And next, we need to understand that for that kind of true happiness, the most important work to be done is internal. It's something we have to do within us. So happiness is not something happens to us, but happiness is something that we cultivate within us. Then we are on the right path. And of course, the whole purpose of Buddhism is to help sentient beings to go to that kind of level of peace, that level of happiness. And that is why the Noble Eightfold Path is called Path to Happiness. Do you know that the Noble Eightfold Path is called Path to Happiness? Because the Pali term for that is the path that leads to cessation of suffering. Dukkha Nirodha Gamini Patipada. The path that leads to cessation of suffering. What does it mean? It's too many words, right? The path that leads to cessation of suffering. Can you give me a word for cessation of suffering? Can you simplify that? Cessation of suffering. What is the cessation of suffering? It's happiness. Don't look for exciting things for happiness. Happiness is simply absence of suffering. That is that peaceful state of the mind. So we are looking for some kind of elation, upliftment, excitement. Those are momentary. Those are simply, very fleeting moments. Those are not really true happiness. The true happiness is when there is no suffering, when there is no burning inside us, there is no despair within us, there is no conflicts within us, and that is true happiness. So the happiness that leads to cessation of suffering means happiness the path to happiness. So today the topic should be actually Noble Eightfold Path instead of path to happiness. Right? So that is the path Buddha has given. I don't have to give you a new path, and we just have to, understand the Noble Eightfold Path is the path to true happiness. And let's look at this whole practice and how Buddha has very carefully designed this particular method. It's a special technique that Buddha has discovered to help us to achieve this kind of true happiness. And first, of course, we need to have a correct vision of the happiness. That is what we just clarified just now. We need to have a clear understanding, clear vision. And this is the kind of happiness that we are looking for. And then we need to have aspiration or what we call intentions. We have to set goals and values towards that kind of happiness. And Buddha has given us very practical guidelines. Simply identify behaviors in our life that promote suffering within us, that promote suffering in others. So in right speech, right actions and right livelihood, Buddha has given a very practical guidelines. Identify the behaviors that simply generate suffering in us. Cheating, for example. If you are going around and cheating other people, and are you not creating suffering to others? Yes. And do you expect happiness to yourself by giving sufferings to others? No, that's not going to happen. That's against the nature, right? And of course, if you start to cheat, do you think that you can keep a peaceful mind? No, then you have to have more lies and more cheating to protect yourself from your initial cheating. This is not the kind of lifestyle that brings happiness to others. So we identify certain behaviors, verbal behaviors and physical behaviors that bring sufferings to us. So in Buddhism, the way we distinguish good behavior and bad behavior is based on suffering or happiness. Buddha has not given us right and wrong kind of distinction, but Buddha has given us wholesome and unwholesome, or skillful and unskillful behaviors, kusala and akusala. So the criteria for us to decide whether an action is good or bad is to ask the question whether this action produces suffering or not. Simple. And we can test it with our own experience. We don't need to look at religious books to decide whether this action is unwholesome or not, or skillful or not. We can look into our own experience. And that is the beauty of Buddhism. It's all referring back to our own experience, and we can decide whether killing produces suffering or not. Whether stealing produces suffering or not. So we can decide for ourselves. So whatever behavior that produces suffering is unskillful, and whatever behavior that produces or promote peace is skillful. So in the Noble Eightfold Path, Buddha has given us very clear guidelines to identify our speech that produce suffering, identify our actions that produce suffering, and identify livelihoods, our jobs and careers, employments that produce suffering, and ask us first avoid them. And that's the very practical way to achieve true happiness. Then Buddha is giving us more deeper level of instruction in other items in the path: right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. And those are more like changing the way our mind works. Because the ordinary way the ordinary way our mind works is producing suffering in us. We are very good in finding something to be unhappy. So there's a particular way our mind works. It's very good in producing suffering. So the other three items in the Noble Eightfold Path are techniques to change how our mind works. And one important way that actually we can change how our mind works is actually start to watch our own mind. We call mindfulness. Starting to watch our own mind, starting to take care of your own mind, just like we sharpen that axe. We really need to have a look at this axe and really need to sharpen it. So in order to sharpen our mind or take care of our mind, we need to develop this ability to watch our own mind. This is very interesting skill. And you may think that how I look at my own mind, because I had to use my mind to think about all other things. So therefore I cannot look at my own mind. It's just like we use our eye to see everything, right? Can you see your own eye? Can you see your own eye? How about when you go in front of the mirror? Can't you see your own eye? When you see your eye in the mirror, are you really seeing your own eye? What do you see there? It's a reflection, right? There's no way that we can look at our own eyes. How terrible it is, right? So in the same way, people also think that we cannot watch our own mind because we have to use our mind even to watch the mind. So if you bring the same logic, somebody can say that we cannot watch our own mind. But fortunately, that is not the case when it comes to mind. We have a special faculty, particularly as human beings. We have a special faculty that Buddha has pointed out. A special faculty within our mind that can turn around and use to watch mind itself. That is special faculty we call mindfulness, or sati sampajanya. It's like, we have this muddy water, the muddy glass of water, and part of that water is distilled and clear. So we can use that distilled part of the water to see the muddy part of the water. So at any moment, we can simply bring attention to our mind and watch our mind. If I ask the question right now, what is in your mind right now? Right now. What is in your mind? Tell me. What is in your mind right now? What you are thinking now? Are you thinking? Are you thinking what this Bhante is going to ask? What this Bhante is going to say? Or when he is going to stop this sermon? So when you ask that question, what is in my mind? Can you look into your mind? What is in my mind? Ask that question. So when I ask that question, I can see your eyes are rolling. That is an important turning. So when you do that, actually what you are really doing is you are actually taking your attention away from the outside. Then you are turning your eyes or closing your eyes. Then you are turning your attention inward. That is what you just did when I asked that question. When you do that, you can actually see, feel what is in your mind. What thoughts you have, whether your mind is agitated or not, whether it's peaceful or not, whether you have a memory surface in your mind. You can see it, you can feel it. And that is the most important technique to gradually develop true happiness. Because at any given point of time, in any agitated moment of your life, any suffering moment of your life, you can simply watch the mind. As soon as you watch your mind, the whole process changes. If you're having sad thoughts, if you're having negative thoughts, even negative mood, the moment you look into your mind, and mind stops right there. Not the mind actually, the continuation of those thoughts, the continuation of these moods, stop right there. You know why? Our emotions are shy. They are shy. When you look at them, they cannot grow, they cannot play, they cannot dance. As long as you look them away, as long as you look away, they can do all kind of funny things in your mind. Just like kids. And when you are away, they can play, they can be naughty, they can do all kind of things. When you come and watch them, let them know that I'm watching you, they'll be very nice, very disciplined. Our emotions are also very shy. When you look away, they dance, they overcome you. But as soon as you watch them, they will stop there. Usually I ask people, imagine that you had an argument with your spouse, with your husband or wife, maybe with your kid. You blame your kids for not doing homework, or using too much handphone, whatever, and you're so angry. You had, maybe you had a telephone conversation with your co-worker, and you had really bad argument. You are really angry, and you happen to pass by your mirror in your room. Do you have a mirror in your room? You happen to pass by your mirror, and you saw your own face in the mirror. Now tell me, can you keep watching your face and also be angry at the same time? You can try next time. You watch your own face in the mirror and then keep angry at the same time. Quite difficult. We will see it. Quite difficult, So we should carry a mirror whenever you go. Whenever you're angry, you just look at your face. That's the best way to overcome that negative state of the mind, because anger and all other negative emotions are shy. Whenever you look at them, they stop growing. That doesn't mean that they will disappear suddenly. They will be there. But when you look at them, they become shy. They stop growing, at least from that point onwards. Then we can actually handle them. So nowadays, even you don't have to carry a mirror. You have your own handphone, right? You can put on camera and see your own face. Yeah. So that is how mindfulness works. It helps us look into our own mind. And then you will see this muddy nature in the mind, this agitated state of the mind, angry state of the mind, frustrated state of the mind. That's okay. You simply watch it. As soon as you're watching it, you're not doing any harm to anybody. Because you're not speaking out of that, you're not really making a decision out of that, you're not doing anything out of that. You are simply safely watching this. And when you keep watching this, it will subside. And then you can introduce a wholesome thought. You can redirect your thinking. So mindfulness is the best way. That is a path to happiness, and that is one of the ways that we can sharpen our axe, not the axe actually, the mind. And when you do that, when you do such reflection, such inward attention, when you direct your attention inward, you will begin to see so many patterns in our mind that bring troubles and difficulties and suffering to ourselves. And one of the negative habits, negative pattern in our mind that brings so much suffering to our life is our tendency to remember negative things and quickly forget all the positive things. Let's say you went to a dinner and you met so many people there. You had so many conversations there. You spoken about so many topics there. So many things happen. And then in one moment, somebody says something quite bad about you. Or you overheard somebody said something bad about you. Okay. And then when you come out from that, come back home, what you remember is only those bad words, and all the good conversation you had with other friends are all forgotten. You are very clever. Remember the bad things and forget the good things. Even today we are here. Okay, we are having a very nice, peaceful time. Let's say one bad thing happened right here, and that is what's going to stay in our mind. So we have this habit of remembering the negative things and forgetting or even ignoring the positive things. And even when we think about other people, the other people have helped us so many times. But we have a habit of remembering the moments that they did not help us. As you have a neighbor who help you all the time, maybe babysit your kids, or maybe go do and shopping, or help you to drive somewhere, and maybe that person has been helping you so many years. He has given you rides so many times. One day you really need to go somewhere and you ask his help, and he said that, oh, today I'm busy, I cannot help you. And you will remember that day, and you forget all other days that he helped you. And when somebody rejects you to do you a favor, and we remember that, and we quickly forget all other help that person has given to us. Remember, other people have given you loans and maybe some money. And then how many times? Maybe 10, 20, 30, 40, maybe 100 times. And 1 or 2 times he rejected to help us. And we remember that 2 times and we forget all other good times. It's very true with your family members. You make tea for your husband or wife every day, and maybe 2 or 3 days you forget to do it, and they remember that. They forget all other days that you made tea for that person. So we have this tendency in our mind, and that is what actually generates so much frustration and suffering in our mind, because we pick the negative things and then we quickly ignore the positive things. Actually, originally, our brain started to function in that way for our own safety during our evolution. Because for people need to remember, right, brother? The original, human beings need to remember their threats more than their, pleasant experiences in order to protect themselves from, dangerous animals and natural, disasters, natural threats. So we remember, as early human beings, we remember the areas that we have fierce animals. And now we have come a long way. Now no more threats from environment. We have conquered the environment already. But we still carry that tendency to remember negative things and quickly forget the positive things. So we need to be aware of that. Whenever you feel bad about a person, take a breath and think about all the help that you received from that person. You may feel bad about he didn't help me, or he's so bad. Yes, maybe true. But take a moment and reflect, be honest, and do a really fair judgment, fair reflection, and see, purposefully try to remember all the good things, all the help that person may have done to you over the years. You may have a bad impression about an incident, an event. Maybe even your workplace, you feel like that is not a pleasant place. Take a breath and spend for a moment and purposefully try to remember, is there any good things happen in this place? If you try hard, you will find so many good things happen on that day. So many people will greet you as saying you good morning and have a great day and nice day. So many people will tell you. But maybe 2 people did not respond to your greetings. Okay, one day you went and you greeted as good morning, but they ignored you. 10 people greeted you, 2 people ignored you. At the end of the day, who will you remember? The 10 people who greeted you or the 2 people that you neglected your greetings? Easily the 2 people, right? This is bad mathematics, right? Bad maths. We can forget 10 things, 10 good things and remember 2 bad things. That is how our mind works. And that is one of the habits that generate unhappiness in our mind. We should be aware of that. We should balance it purposefully. And that is what mindfulness is doing, and that is what we call right effort. One of the aspects of right effort is to purposefully generate wholesome thoughts and purposefully help our mind to remember positive things. And we need to do that all the time, because we usually have a biased memory, we have a biased perspective of an incident or even about a person. And we need to balance it. And that is one of the ways that we can change the way our mind works. And even we have a habit of ignoring goodness in others. Like, we usually complain when other people behave badly. Think about your own kids. We usually, complain, and we usually talk to them. Whenever we see they are doing some, inappropriate things, we usually, talk to them. We usually blame them and criticize them. But whenever they are behaving well, we simply stay silent. Whenever we see they are doing inappropriate things, we shout, we talk, we complain. Whenever we see they are doing well, they are behaving well, we don't appreciate it. We just stay silent. That's also part of that habit. We should appreciate whenever we see they are doing well, they are doing homework. Appreciate. And that's also the part of this habit. Those are the simple techniques that we can use to achieve true happiness actually. One of the other way actually, I will give you a special technique. The easiest way to be happy is actually rejoice other people's happiness. Isn't it the easiest way? Rejoice in other people's happiness. It's the easiest way to be happy. When you see a smiling face, be happy. Oh, I'm so glad that he is happy. When you see a nice family, rejoice their happiness. Such a great family. May they grow well. May they flourish more and more. We call this mudita, the altruistic joy. Whenever you see a happy person, rejoice that happiness. Whenever you see a person who's doing well in his career, rejoice that happiness. Whenever you see a person doing good merits, rejoice that merits. Rejoice that person's happiness and joy. Easiest way. Look for happy people and rejoice that happiness. Sometimes it is difficult for us to do that. What is the opposite of altruistic joy? When other people are doing well, yes, opposite is called jealousy. Does jealousy bring us happiness? No, it's simply creating a conflict and agitation and so much suffering in us. So if you feel jealousy whenever you see a happy person, a well-to-do person, how much suffering you are going to experience? Because, when you go out, you will see, people who are doing well, who are successful, and if you start to feel jealousy about them, you will suffer all the time. So instead of that, we can start to rejoice other people's success, other people's happiness. And that's the easiest way to be happy. You are doing this out of self-compassion. Of course, you are doing it to be compassionate to others too, but mainly you are doing this to sharpen your own mind, to take care of your own mind. And out of self-compassion, we should train our mind to rejoice other people's happiness. And the last technique I would like to teach you, which is related to the Noble Eightfold Path, is actually be proactive in generating your happiness. Be proactive. Usually we wait other people to make us happy. Usually we wait other pleasant things to happen to be happy. But why not we be proactive and we do it first without waiting? For example, in the morning we wait somebody to greet us to be happy. Somebody to praise us, somebody to show compassion to us, to be happy. So we wait for other people to please make me happy. So instead of waiting other people to make us happy, why not we start greeting them? Why not we can start wishing other people, greeting them, and then we become proactive in generating our happiness. So we also can generate wholesome thoughts in our mind. Or in other way, if somebody blames us in the morning, we will be unhappy. So before anybody blames you, make sure that you greet them well. Then they cannot blame you anymore, right? Of course they will talk to you, but before somebody actually make you unhappy, you become the first person to talk to them and greet them and smile with them, and then you become proactive in your happiness, and definitely you will share that happiness with many others too. So I usually ask people, before anybody decides the state of your mind, particularly in the morning of the day, beginning of the day, be proactive and create the wholesome mental state within you before you leave home. Be proactive. Before anybody else decides the state of your mind of that day, you generate the state of your mind that you want to have throughout the day. Before you leave home, you purposefully generate wholesome state of your mind. And you can do simple practices like short meditation, even short chanting, and even simple wishes that we can make to everybody. Before you go out, you make sure you make a good wish for everybody. You make a good wish. May today be a great day for me. Can't we make that wish every morning? Is it difficult? Yeah. Just make that wish. May today be a great day for me. And just make that wish. You may not feel like doing that. Just do it. Then you will feel it later. Do not wait until you feel like doing it. You do it, and then gradually you will feel the goodness. So make that wish. May today be a great day for me. And then you can also make a wish not only for yourself, for others that you know. May all others, other people who are related to my life, have a great day today. And you can expand that wish. May all other people who are starting this day right now with me, may everybody has a great day today. And you can even expand that wish to include all living beings. So making a good wish for yourself and many others as first thing in the day. Is it difficult to do? How long it will take to make those wishes? Minute or two. But making sure to spend that wholesome, positive moments in your life will decide the general state of your mind throughout the day. So instead of letting somebody else decide your state of mind, you generate the state you want. In the morning, making that good wish to yourself and others. And that is part of the right effort. Generating wholesome mental states, purposefully. So I hope that we can be proactive in generating our happiness. And happiness is not something happens to us. Happiness is something we cultivate within us. And happiness is not exciting, pleasurable moments. They are not like fleeting moments, but it's more like an enduring state of being, more like a peaceful state of being, and such states need to be cultivated and developed. How we can do that is simply following the Noble Eightfold Path recognizing the behaviors that generate suffering, and we voluntarily avoid those actions, and then we look into our mind with my mindfulness, and then gradually introducing wholesome states of mind. So thoughts can occur to us, but at the same time we can also generate thoughts. There are two ways our mind works. Some thoughts occur to us, right? When you go to a place, when you meet certain people, or sometimes memory surfaces, so thoughts occur to us. That is one aspect. But at the same time, we can also purposely generate thoughts. That is what we do in meditation. Usually, we say, I think. I think. Do we really think? Actually, thoughts occur to us most of the time. We don't really think. We cannot say that I think. Most of the time, thoughts occur to us. We don't have a full control of our mind. Grammatically, it is correct, I think. But in reality, it is wrong. It's very rarely we think. Thoughts occur to us. But we also can think. We also can generate thoughts purposefully. In meditations, we generate wholesome thoughts, like when you do loving kindness meditation, we don't wait for thoughts to occur in our mind. We purposefully generate good thoughts, making good wishes. We purposefully generate thoughts about the great qualities of the Buddha. So there are two aspects to our mind. What I am asking is to use the other aspect. Do not wait thoughts to occur in your mind, and that will happen. But at the same time, we can also purposefully generate thoughts, and then be proactive in generating happy thoughts in your mind. So I hope that you will take some time in every day to sharpen your axe, not the axe, the mind. Thank you. So maybe the question time. Everybody is happy, no more questions. Yeah. Yes.
What you do in the present time dictates what happens to you in the future.
Definitely, yes.
So if I start smiling, then I'm this one.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah, we set the mood, right? We set the mood, yeah.
So if I'm impressed and I let go of that, and I choose to smile, and especially if I smile, if I give it away to other people, then it's going to start to generate on its own, because you're changing the habit of the brain, right?
Yes. So any moment is not permanent, right? So we can change and then set a different direction to the rest of the events that are going to happen after. Yes. Yes. So no more questions? Okay. Yes. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes. We are looking for happiness.
Somewhere I'm curious that whether you are like a choice.
Okay.
Because many persons are not interested. Maybe songs that have been written throughout our history.
Yes.
Even some songs.
Tragedies.
Maybe about love.
Yeah.
It's about most people are not about being needy.
Yeah.
What about the party?
The party. Yeah. Yes. That's true.
There are things suffering that we experience.
Yeah.
We are having that relationship.
Yeah.
We turn into the songs.
And we enjoy that sad moment, right? Yeah, sadness.
Sad moment. In different time, we enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, thank you, Bhante. You made a very good observation. And Bhante is asking that, are some people or are we also enjoy suffering at some times? It's a good observation actually. There's the concept called pain body, in modern psychology, that some people are addicted to suffering. And because all the while they have been experiencing negative moods and negative thoughts, and they can be addicted to that. And whenever there's no more suffering, they look for some pain and suffering. It's a very unfortunate state to be. Yeah. And of course, your point is that many of our songs and even many of our epics are about tragedies, about separation, about sad moments. Why we want to write so many songs and epics and stories and movies about separation, right? Yeah. But I think when we reflect on a separation, so maybe we can have more deep appreciation and some kind of insightfulness on that whole moment. But you are correct. We have this tendency in our mind to enjoy, not enjoy, like somehow, being addicted to that pain.
Actually, Bhante, if I may add on to what was just mentioned,
Yes.
Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh said it very beautifully. He said, out of a fear of the unknown, we choose suffering that is familiar.
Okay. And
Because if we have to choose something else is unknown, we are fearful. We prefer to cling on to suffering that we are familiar with.
So in a way we somehow unknowingly enjoy suffering also, right? So what we can do? So I remember, the story about that starfish. Starfish used to, stay in those rocks in very, so there was the group of starfish was staying very close to a rock in a very dark place, very deep in the sea. And they were holding into the rock, and because the rock was the only refuge, only place of security for them. So they were holding to the rock so tightly. And one day, because of a big, forceful current, one starfish was washed away. And his crab was loose and he was washed away, and he suddenly came to the surface of the water. And he saw the beautiful blue sky, the sun and clouds, and such a wonderful world. He has been in that dark place all his life without fearful of letting go of the only refuge he had. And now through this accident he saw the beautiful sky, everything. He quickly went back and told his friends, please let go of this rock. There's a beautiful world out there, and such a beautiful spacious world, and let's go and enjoy it. But they did not accept it because they like the familiar suffering than the unknown happiness. Yeah. So I think that's also something that we should reflect in, whether we are also clinging to that kind of pain and suffering, and without our knowing. Yeah. Thank you, Bhante. Okay. If there's no more questions, maybe we can conclude. I really appreciate, and it's a great honor to have our chief Bhante here. And in the beginning, I was quite, anxious to give my speech when he is sitting here, because he's checking me, he's grading me. So I don't know what is my grade, whether I'll be invited again to give this talk. So thank you very much, Bhante. It's a great encouragement for me to have your presence here, and also thank Bhante Dhammasiri. And yes, I know him for many years. He used to serve in Singapore a long time ago, and then I met him there, and then he's doing great service in the US as a chaplain, as a counselor. And thank you for being nice. And also Bhante Deepankar and Bhante Nalaka. I brought that young man from Bigfield. And this is the first time he visited Sentul temple. So thank you. And thank you, Bhikkhunis, for staying here, giving me strength and courage. And thank you, everybody. And thank you, Brother Billy, following me and recording my speech. And thank you very much. And thank you, everyone. So let us now share the merits with everyone. By coming to this Dhamma talk and sitting in front of this Buddha statue, listening to the Dhamma, we were able to keep our mind free from defilements such as greed, hatred and delusion. And whenever we can keep our mind free from those defilements, we generate so much wholesome energy. It is such a fortunate thing that we actually spend more than an hour keeping our mind purified, free from those unwholesome mental states. Such a wonderful moment. By doing that, we generated so much of wholesome energy, good karma, merits. We can share these merits with all others. We can invite all other beings to rejoice in these merits. Let us share these merits, first of all, with all other people, with all other beings who may not have an opportunity to do such merits, to do such good things. May they all share these merits. May they all also have an opportunity to listen to the wisdom of the Buddha. And may they share our merits. And may all, if there's any living being in this world who would like to share our merit, may he or she do so. May all divine beings and devas rejoice in these merits. May they in turn give their protections and blessings to us and our family members, to our children. May they protect this vihara and help this vihara to grow. May all our departed relatives also share these merits. May they rejoice in these good merits. May they too have a smooth journey towards the enlightenment. May all our departed relatives, may all other living beings share our merits. May all sentient beings be well, happy and peaceful. With that thoughts, let us recite together. Ittavata ce ammihi sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe sattha anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya idam ñātinam hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo idam ñātinam hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo idam ñātinam hotu sukhita